All right, how's everybody doing? I want to make this intraday video. A lot of people have been asking me questions about, this whole banking situation, and I have to warn you in advance. This is like this might be like an R-rated video because I'm fucking pissed off and my language might be a little bit salty. So, talking about the SVP situation, Silicon Valley Bank and everything like that, and I think there was another one that was just shut down too. I want to explain, and by the way, before I even get into this, I want to tell you that, it took me a long time to understand this too. So when I'm telling you this stuff, and some of you may already know it, most of you probably don't know it, and that's fine because you're doing whatever you're doing, your jobs, your daily jobs, you're providing for your family, stuff like that. It's not for you to be looking into this stuff and trying to understand. Here's a situation we have, which is the most fucked up situation if you think about it, the way the whole kind of financial system is set up, okay? And particularly when it comes to banking. So, to start a bank, you have to get a charter from the government. Basically, the Fed says, okay, you got to have a certain amount of capital and blah, blah, blah. And you can only hold certain kinds of assets. There's basically 3 assets that banks can hold. The government has to approve that. They don't say, okay, here's your bank charter, go, own whatever you want to own, pork bellies or fucking speculative land or something. You could own government securities. You could own loans, and they're very defined, okay? There could be commercial and industrial loans. They could be real estate loans. They could be consumer loans like auto loans and credit cards and stuff like that. And you could own cash. That's it. The government tells you if you want to run a bank, if you want a bank, we will grant you that license. Like you can't just go out, this is not like the 19th century where somebody could just start a bank and issue their own, yellow paper notes or whatever and say, okay, we're a bank. No, it's all stipulated. Okay? So there's 3 kinds of assets that the government makes you adhere to. Like that's it. They say you could own government securities. That means like treasury and agency securities, mortgage-backed securities, and certain equities, not like crazy stocks. These equities got to be like preferred stocks, almost like they're almost like bonds, okay? And you could own loans and you could own cash. Okay, fine. We're all good with that. The FDIC says, okay, we're gonna watch out. We're gonna take a look at what you have, and your only constraint is you got to have enough capital to have those assets. Okay. All right, fine. So now what happens is the bank says, okay, we're gonna go in business. That's we think that's a good business. We want to do this, and so what happens? They buy, they invest in treasury securities, government securities, right? And they issue They make loans, which loans are the biggest portion of their assets. Loans are like over 12 trillion. Government securities are about 5.5 trillion. Then you have cash assets. I don't have that off the top of my head, but let's see. 12 plus 5 is 17. So there's about another 5, maybe another 5 trillion or something like that in cash assets, okay? Now, the fucking Fed comes along and says, okay, we're going to raise interest rates because we don't like the inflation rate, which, I've talked about so much. Like that doesn't take down the fucking inflation rate, okay? When you take rates from 0 to fucking 5%, like every the cost of all goods and services reflect that increase in the cost of credit. And when they do that, what happens? They destroy or they collapse the value of the assets that the banks hold. So like if the banks are holding $5.5 trillion in government securities and the FDIC forces the banks to mark to market. In other words, let's say you bought a government security at face value at let's say at 100 par, and now it's down to 80. That's a 20%. You got to take a 20%, hit. Even though you're going to hold that to maturity and it's going to be paid off. No, the FDIC says you got to take a hit on that. You got to write that off. We got to see that. So the Fed's raising interest rates. They're crashing the assets that were already approved by the government. As a matter of fact, not just approved, but the government saying these are the only things you can own. Hang on, New York City. By the way, I did a poll on my Instagram. If you don't know my Instagram, please go to it. It's at Mike Norman. Very simple. Instagram at, wait, that might be my Twitter. No, it's Instagram at Mikey Doggy, MikeYDOGGY. Don't ask me why I did that. That's a long story. Maybe I'll get into that one other time. And go to my Twitter too, at Mike Norman. That's very easy. But Instagram, I did a poll like, where do you think I should move? You think I should move to California? You think I should move to Texas? You think I should move out of the country? Or you think I should just stay in New York? Anyway, I got off track. So the Fed comes in, they start raising interest rates, and that just lowers the value of the assets that the banks hold. They did nothing wrong, okay? SVB did nothing wrong. All right, it's been in business for a long time. It did nothing wrong, but because the Fed raises interest rates and the FDIC requires that those assets are marked to market, naturally, they're going to take a huge hit. So the Fed's ridiculous, this is how stupid this is, because this policy, it's just like, I don't know, folks, you got a bunch of people here who are overeducated. Okay, they all went, like I always say, they went to the finest institutions. They're overeducated, but they're just fucking dumb. And they're in this clique, they're in this club, and they want to stay there so bad because if you're in this club, like you're treated like, like royalty, like God. And they will never, ever change. So they've created this system. It's kind of like this Rube Goldberg kind of ridiculous system where for them to do what they think they want to do creates all this unnecessary instability and volatility. And, it's not even that companies go out of business. Like people lose their jobs, man. People lose their jobs because of these fucking idiots. And it's because of the fucking system that they set up. Like the government tells them you can only own these assets, and then the same government goes ahead and fucking crushes the assets. Like what the fuck is that? Come on. This is such bullshit. I mean, we need to have a revolution here because it's getting crazy. It's getting ridiculous. And who do you think is going to now scoop up all those assets? Of course, it's going to be Jamie Dimon. It's going to be Wells Fargo. That's how come all those banks, the four big ones, Citi, Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they're going to scoop all that up. And Silicon Valley Bank did nothing wrong. And the system is set up, in a way that, and again, it goes back to this monetarism. I mean, it's fucking Milton Friedman. I hope he's burning in hell right now. I hope he's burning in hell right now with this monetarism bullshit. Like, we need to rise up and get off of this, man. It's unbelievable. Anyway, that's what's going on. Sorry, I'm just really pissed off today. Really pissed off. I'll try to make a calmer video later on. Bye.